So again, from Statistica, level of interest in WNBA in the United States as of March 2023 by gender. Let's check this out. All right. I believe the key is at the bottom, but I believe hard blue is serious fans, the dark blue is casual, and then gray are not fans at all. As you see, the male 11% are hardcore fans as opposed to 4% females. Yeah, avid fans in the baby blue, the dark is the casual. And look at this. Females 4%, casuals 19, not a fan at all 77. Whereas the men are 11% hardcore fans, 29% casual, and 60 not fans at all. So I bring all of this up to say, if we care about the women being paid and the women not going to Russia, then women need to watch the game. Because guess who isn't having ratings and attendance issues? Beyonce, Usher. Women are mortgaging their homes and losing their relationships to make pilgrimages out to Vegas to go to Usher residency. Not to Aces games, not to Atlanta Dreams games. It's not our fault. It's their fault. You've produced a product for them that they do not come and watch. So please stop blaming us. And I say us, I mean guys for it, okay? Women, stop watching the Housewives and loving hip hop or whatever and go watch a WNBA basketball game to keep them from going to play in Russia. The end. Oh yeah. Chrissy, I went from a white man using racial slurs to a grandma dancing in the club to this. Yeah, you winning on the internet. Hey man, but you know that's what it's like when you hitchhiking on the internet. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You never know where you end up, what you gonna find. But I'll say this, Mr. Smith, I appreciate you stopping by. I do. And actually, we're gonna roll over to the next topic. Before we get to the ditty, is WNBA talk. Because of course, with all the stuff that went down with March Madness, records being broken with by Caitlin Clark, her drafting, a lot has started to be to come up and be said about NBA pay. So I'm gonna let some clips play about different opinions on it, and then I'm gonna add my 2 cents at the end of that. So let's check it out right quick. Let's start with Dan
Full
Levitard.
of interesting things here. If you stop for a moment to genuflect at the moment that we are in, people will complain about whether Caitlin Clark is too famous, whether she deserves Saturday Night Live or South Carolina should be up there. But at this moment in history, that woman who has acknowledged at every turn very gracefully all the pioneers who came before her, all of the pioneers, because they are many. That woman now drags this sport to unprecedented heights that we've never seen, where we're watching on Monday night a made-for-television extravaganza about looking good, feeling good, presenting good, like putting on a show for the people because your sport has arrived. But what it really was is, these women are underpaid. Let's celebrate how we have now finally reached male equality you'll celebrate our draft events on television. We'll turn these into national holidays. It'll be fashion show. All of it off-season bull where the leagues can control the players because Caitlin Clark should be available to go to wherever the hell she wants, to play anywhere she wants in the world. But she has to go to the first team that drafts her in an unfair draft that would be eradicated if sports were truly fair.
That's like every other sport.
I think you choose Indiana.
I mean, remember Iowa, same market, Dan.
Yeah. Maybe, but here are the numbers, and they are shocking. She will make $76,000 this year, Caitlin Clark, her rookie deal, 4 years, and she's well paid. Brittany Griner had to go to Russia because of how poorly we pay and have always paid in this sport.
Yeah.
4 years, $338,000. So she gets in 2025, $78,000. 2026, $85,000. 2027, 97,000. So she would qualify for low-income housing in San Francisco.
That is
She
the hell.
she'll be paid less.
To be honest, I would almost bet money at Vegas half the nation qualifies for low-income housing in San Francisco. I mean, for real.
Than
Anyway,
the average salary of a union nurse, teacher, or cop.
Pay the teachers.
They're going to be paying her $23,000 less than James Harden's fine for calling Daryl Morey a liar.
Wow.
It's why that big three thing, honestly, $5 million for like 8 games.
did y'all know that? Cube offered her $8 million? Hey.
She needs to opt out of that 4th year now, right?
She was wearing a $17,000 Prada outfit last night. That's about a quarter of her first year
It was the
salary.
first time Prada dressed anyone for the draft, so it was
Fiscally
another like
irresponsible.
very, very cool moment to show that this event had arrived and ratings were coming.
Greg
Ratings
Cody has
are covered.
arrived. Howdy, Drifter.
Hey, Drifter. We do understand that her WNBA salary is a fraction of what her income
Hey,
will
don't
be,
come in there
right? I mean,
correcting
we're
him.
acting
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's only making $70,000.
No, I'm not acting like anything.
What you
Yes,
sipping
she will
on,
make
Pops?
plenty of money,
I'm
but
sipping.
not because her sport pays her fairly. The
Right.
salaries in this sport are criminally low. Again,
All right. So, my man Dan Lebertard said that the salaries in this sport, meaning women's basketball, women's WNBA, professional basketball, are criminally low. Dan Lebertard's take. All right, we're going to check out Jason Whitlock's take. I don't think he's going to agree.
In more than 30 years of history, the WNBA has never once turned a profit. What business overpays? They're overpaid at $75,000 a year, and I think the top veteran players make like $250,000 a year. They're overpaid already. And so what they're trying to create in these women is a sense of entitlement. Oh, you're owed something. You're mistreated. You know what? You should be just like Megan Rapinoe. You should be just like all the angry feminists that have dominated the WNBA and led it to 30 plus years of no profit and total irrelevance. You need to mimic their behavior. Join us, the legion of angry feminists, the legion of alphabet mafia angry people, Black Lives Matter, and we're going to take a knee, and we're going to complain we're not paid. We only make 50 cents on the dollar for men. It's all a lie. And so they're going to take the gift that Angel Reese has given them, the likability that they just garnered last night through the WNBA draft. And Hannah Nicole Jones or Nicole Hannah Jones or whatever her name is, the little angry New York Times lady, Russell
You sound angry
Wilson,
too, though.
well-intentioned idiot that's always looking. What can I say that will make people like me over Twitter? Sean Payton already told you, hey, cut it out, man.
Why you
Now I'm
roasting
telling you.
Russ?
And I like you, Russell. Cut it out. We haven't been unfair to women. You don't have to believe every lie told over Twitter or told on some college campus.
All right, so we got our opinion on pay from something that seemed very left-leaning with Dan Lebertard, and then we got our opinion on WNBA pay from someone that is very conservative with Jason Whitlock. So where lies the truth in there? Well, let's see if the commissioner, the WNBA commissioner, sheds a little bit of light
An
on that.
indelible imprint on the business of women's basketball. You had a big night, draft night, on Monday. The ratings were big. The ratings for the college championship game outdid any basketball game, male or female, in recent years. How important is Caitlin Clark going to be to growth in revenue for your league this year and into the future?
Yes, it's great to be here, and it's so important to have household names and build rivalries and have games of consequence. That's what March Madness had. That's what this draft class was amazing the other night, Monday night. Over 3 million people watched that draft at peak. And so it's really important to have those household names. These players, we have the confluence of a lot of positive elements happening right now with these generational players with huge social media followings. They have huge endorsements already coming in. They're getting more endorsements now that they've declared pro. But this whole draft class was amazing, with Caitlin and Angel Reese coming off of last year's national championship was the most viewed ever. And now this year, we blew those records away. And we're so excited to have Caitlin and the rest of the rookies coming into the WNBA this year.
Yeah, Camila Cardozo, Paige Beckers, who I think is still at UConn, but obviously is on the horizon to come in. You've got compelling personalities, but back to my question. How much do you think, for example, season ticket sales are going to go up? How much do you think is Caitlin going to mean going from 10,000 attendance at a typical game on a Tuesday or a Sunday to 15 or 20,000? What?
Yes, business is booming, especially for those games, just like what happened in the Big Ten with Iowa playing in those sold-out arenas. That's happening for us, and hopefully a rising tide lifts all boats, and it'll lift all of our teams. We have some great rivalries forming with Caitlin Sabrina in New York, with Caitlin Diana Taurasi in Phoenix. There's a little edge there. Obviously, you have Cardoso and Angel Reese going to play in Chicago. So I think parity in the game is really important, as well as having these players really help us drive the league to higher heights. So you asked a revenue question.
Yes.
Revenues, media rights, corporate partnerships, and then gate, people coming to games. So we need more people to watch, attend, and the quality of the game is what I'm so proud of. It's there. I mean, people love watching our game. If we can get fans into the funnel to watch the games, they're going to come back, and then they're going to attend and rep and buy merch and everything that goes around the revenue model for sports. So it starts with media rights. We need to get those valued correctly. And then it goes to corporate partnerships, and we've been doing great on that. There's a lot of corporations who are stepping up to support women's sports.
NBA.
A lot of money and capital inflows. We raised capital, $75 million in capital 2 years ago. So when you see that money coming in, you know you're a growth stock, and you know you're a legitimate sports media and entertainment property.
Kathy, what does that ultimately mean for WNBA players, where there's been so much criticism around how they make much less than NBA players and in general male athletes overall?
Yeah, and one thing, there's a false narrative out there about Caitlin herself, and nobody ever just looks at base pay. It's proxy season, right? You look at base pay plus bonus, plus stock options, et cetera. She'll have the ability to make up to $500,000 in just her W earnings this year, and then obviously she has huge endorsements. You just mentioned her Nike endorsement. There's a huge opportunity for us to lift this for all of our players. And as we get into a new collective bargaining agreement in a year or two, that'll be an opportunity to pay the players more. The one we did in 2020 was viewed as progressive. And
Okay. So I was hoping the commissioner got more into the numbers as far as attendance, rating, et cetera, et cetera. And instead, she just kind of glazed over that and just said that the minimum base pays have other incentives and things built into them. All right, so we've got the argument of underpaid. We've got the argument of underpaid. Where does this actually lie? And why am I bringing it up? Okay, well, let's look at WNBA by attendance from Statica. All right. Average regular season attendance at WNBA games in 2023 by team. Top team, the Aces. I believe they're the reigning champions. They get just under 10,000 a game in the arena. Right? That's their top team, 10,000. So you see about the top three hover around that 9,000-10,000 mark. The average is about 7,500. And then you see the worst going all the way down here is the Atlanta Dream, down here at 3,000 people per game. That's who's watching in live. Okay, that's who's attending the games. That's who's buying tickets and filling the seats, so to speak, at the arenas. All right, so let's look at television ratings. This is a record year. WNBA 2023 season delivers a record-breaking viewership and attendance. Well, let's see what a record-breaking viewership looks like. Looks like WNBA on ABC averaged 627,000 viewers, making it the most regular season watched on ABC in 11 years. The most. All right. Then this looks like it is bolstering what my man was talking about earlier, where he was saying, does that take this from 10,000 a game to 15 or 20? And it's showing that the average that shows up in attendance at these games is 6,600. 6,600 per game. All right. So we're getting a little over 600,000 watching the games, and we're getting 6,600 basically in attendance at the games. Right. Okay. So the thing is, it always gets brought up is about this comparison of what the men players get paid as opposed to what the women's players get paid. So let's look at viewership in the NBA. It's up 10% from last season across networks. So it's up a little bit as well. NBA game viewership across ESPN and ABC was up 16% from last season according to Nielsen. The 29 game broadcast averaged 1.7 million views compared to 1.4 last year. Now remember, WNBA games are getting 600,000 people to look at them. NBA is getting a million and 100,000, 1.1 million more than that per game on average. All right, so let's see what it looks like in attendance. All right, attendance here according to ESPN. As you see, Bulls, top of the league. Bulls, Mavs, 76ers, Heat. All these guys are bringing in about 20,000 butts and seats per game. The lowest is at 16,000. So WNBA gets about 6,000 people in seats on average. And the NBA looks like they average around what? 18, 17. So why am I bringing this up? I bring this up because just like in any other business, wherever the money goes, that's where the pay goes. So it's like I keep seeing these people bring up these arguments about the WNBA pay like it's a evil boogeyman man issue. Like men are holding these women back in their pay, and that's not the case. Actually, men are actually helping the sport more than they're getting credit for. And that's the other reason I bring this up. Does the NBA subsidize the WNBA? Let's see. Oh, what does it say? What is the NBA financial backing and subsidies for the WNBA? The NBA provides the WNBA with an annual endowment or allowance of over $15 million. That's annual. This financial support goes to help cover various operating costs for WNBA teams, including facilities, travel, marketing, and administration costs. As of 2023, the NBA owns 50% of the WNBA, while the 12 NBA teams collectively own the other 50%. This is the male version. The male version is giving up allowance that owe 50%. WNBA lack of profitability. That's actually what Jason Whitlock said. He said it hadn't turned a profit in 30 years. It seems to be true. The WNBA generates less revenue compared to the NBA. The financial resources from ticket sales, merch, and broadcasting deals are not sufficient to sustain the WNBA. The WNBA on its own cannot even sustain itself. And wow, I told you all of this, and I didn't click the camera back to split screen to show you what it was I was reading. There's no reason to put it back up there. You can, I guess I will put it back up there. So you can see what I was talking about, and I'll let that go and I'll talk about it. But the thing is like they keep making this comparison about the NBA and the WNBA. They're not the same. One of them is profitable, the other one is not. And then the one that's profitable, the men's game, gets no credit for propping up the women's game. The women's game has not turned a profit in 30 years. And the reason it still exists is because of the men's game. But that's not talked about. All that gets talked about is the income disparagement. The disparagement is the interest in the game. And where does that interest lie? Well, let's see. Since we're bringing it up, let's see who's fans and who's and who in fact are watching these games. So again, from Statistica, level of interest in WNBA in the United States as of March 2023 by gender. Let's check this out. All right, I believe the key is at the bottom, but I believe hard blue is serious fans, the dark blue is casual, and then gray are not fans at all. As you see, the male 11% are hardcore fans as opposed to 4% females. Yeah, avid fans in the baby blue, the dark is the casual. And look at this. Females 4%, casuals 19, not a fan at all 77. Whereas the men are 11% hardcore fans, 29% casual, and 60 not fans at all. So I bring all of this up to say, if we care about the women being paid and the women not going to Russia, then women need to watch the game. Because guess who isn't having ratings and attendance issues? Beyonce, Usher. Women are mortgaging their homes and losing their relationships to make pilgrimages out to Vegas to go to Usher residency. Not to Aces games, not to Atlanta Dreams games. It's not our fault. It's their fault. You've produced a product for them that they do not come and watch. So please stop blaming us. And I say us, I mean guys for it, okay? Women, stop watching the Housewives and loving hip hop or whatever and go watch a WNBA basketball game to keep them from going to play in Russia. The end.